Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another what if that was suggested by Mr. Balance, which is, what if Sora got all the memories of the hearts he absorbed? This concept is going to completely change Sora's personality from the start, and he's definitely going to be a completely different person than he is in the games. That is mainly because from the moment he was born, he bonded with Ventus. This wasn't a full-on absorption of Ventus's heart, but Sora's heart helped keep Ventus alive, and the two bonded, which I would say is enough for Sora to start seeing flashes of a life that's not his. Growing up for Sora would be very hard, since he continuously keeps getting memory flashes of events that he doesn't remember, through somebody else's perspective. Think of it kinda like the Harry Potter and Voldemort connection, where Harry can see things Voldemort is doing, but not quite vice versa. This would trouble Sora for his childhood, as he sees disturbing events such as killing a young girl and being ripped in two. He would be very introverted and not at all the carefree Sora we know of, since his mother believes he has a terrible mental illness and keeps him concealed from others due to wanting to protect him. So Sora may not become friends with Riku right off the bat, and remember, at this point, Sora is only around 5 years old, and all of these flashes of memories that aren't his would take a toll on the poor young boy. And everything takes a turn for the worse once the ending of Birth by Sleep occurred. During the inner clash of Ventus and Vanitas, Vanitas rejoins with Ventus, and just like in the ending of Birth by Sleep, Ventus returns to Sora fully, which definitely takes a toll on Sora's mental state. With almost all of the memories of Ventus and Vanitas inside of him, he develops a form of split personality disorder. He sees beautiful memories of him with his old friends, Terra and Aqua, but also sees himself fighting with them, and wanting to kill them. Again, Sora is a very young boy, and being conflicted with two different ideals and personalities in his head is something that would be straining for an adult, so for Sora, it's maddening and confusing. He would be even more of a recluse, caught between wanting to be good like Ventus and wanting a taste for destruction like Vanitas. So I doubt he'd be social at all, and make many friends. When Kairi arrives on Destiny Islands, I'd say that her and Riku still become friends and hang out all the time, but when Ansem does arrive, I don't think he'd go after Riku, but Sora. Ansem can feel the presence of Vanitas in this boy somehow, and he does sort of look like him, so maybe this boy could be a reincarnation of Vanitas somehow? He doesn't know. Cloaked Ansem visits Sora's home at night and speaks with Sora. Of course, Sora just thinks this is another hallucination, but Ansem assures him that he is real, and he wants to recruit him to help him. Sora feels very conflicted of wanting to help this man, since the Ventus in him is screaming to reject him and fight back, while the Vanitas in him is telling him to do so and give in to the power of darkness. Sora just grabs his head and screams in agony over the voices in his head, and the nail in the coffin is when Ansem tells a young boy that he can make his suffering end if he agrees to help him. Poor Sora just wants all of these voices in his head and memories to disappear, so I believe that an opportunity like this, to make it all disappear, feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to him, so he agrees to go with Ansem. Unfortunately, since Sora is so vulnerable at the moment and willing to have Ansem help, Ansem is able to consume Sora with darkness and take over his body. Now you may be asking, well, why didn't Ventus's Keyblade armor take over Sora to protect him from darkness, as in Dream Drop Distance? Well, here Ventus's protection isn't as strong, since Sora sees his presence as a curse rather than a good thing, and Sora is able to mentally push away Ventus's protection to try and silence him once and for all. So Ansem is able to fully consume Sora's body and heart. Meanwhile, on the island, the Heartless invade as per normal, and due to Ansem not forcing his influence on Riku, Riku is able to summon the Kingdom Key and fight back for the island himself. Kairi still escapes into a heart for safety after she's attacked, but this time she escapes into Riku's heart, not Sora's. The island is swallowed up as in Kingdom Hearts, and this time Riku is the main protagonist trying to find Kairi. Now, without Sora, I don't think he would be as competitive as he was in the game originally, due to him being mellowed out by Kairi over the years. So his obsession to leave Destiny Islands would be way less, so he wouldn't leave it to be consumed. Of course, since Ansem now has a new body to work with, he's a much bigger threat early on, so Riku, Donald, and Goofy don't have time to fool around that long in the Disney worlds. Hollow Bastion is a breeze due to nobody being there to steal Riku's Keyblade, and he comes across the Ansem-possessed Sora standing in his way to destroy all the worlds. Now, Riku has a vague idea of who Sora is, as most of everybody on Destiny Islands has heard of the so-called crazy boy that stays in his home all the time, but Riku never thought he'd be the one behind all this. Riku and Sora have their battle pretty much as normal, with Riku coming out as the winner over Sora, and then Riku realizing that Kairi is in his heart, and as we know, Riku cares greatly for his friends just like Sora, so I believe he would also sacrifice himself to free Kairi's heart. So yes, a different Naminé would come into existence along with a nobody of Riku. I'll just call him Zurich or something, I guess. Ansem would still become whole again, but Sora isn't going to hold him back to protect Kairi, since he's still really locked away. Luckily, Kairi is able to do the same thing to Riku as she does to Sora in the original game, and Riku re-emerges to get the group out of there in time. The rest of Kingdom Hearts plays out as normal except with Riku replacing Sora, and when Ansem is defeated, he releases Sora's body which falls into the hands of Riku. Riku then attempts to close the door to Kingdom Hearts, but this time, Aqua and Mickey both help to close the door, with Riku sealing it from the outside. The worlds are restored to normal, except Sora's body stays with Riku, Donald, and Goofy. By the time Sora wakes up, he remembers most of what happened and how he was used, and starts to have his crazy talks all over again. But Riku stops him, and tells him not to worry, that they're all going to help him for real now. And that's where we're going to leave it right now. It was a very different approach to dive into the psychology of Sora and what would happen, and hopefully you guys found that somewhat interesting. We'll continue the next part with Chain of Memories, and I hope to see you guys there. So, until we meet again.